Got something to say? Get in on the conversation at 415-915-2291. That's 415-915-CALL-1.
Welcome to Conspiracies Against Wellness with your host, Jonelle Elgaway.
Good evening. Welcome to Conspiracies Against Wellness. I'm your host, Jonelle Elgaway. If you'd like to call in tonight and share your experiences or ask a question, please call in at 415-915-2291. Also, if you'd like to chat with us live stream on YouTube, you can at Conspiracies Against Wellness live stream. November 28th, I will be in Washington, D.C. to speak with senators and congressmen with several advocates about the opioid issue within the United States. Chronic pain patients and doctors are not able to treat or be treated because politicians are trying to take away our rights and freedoms. Instead, chronic pain patients are bunched with addicts. We will also have a rally. Next week, we will be having a place and time for the rally up on social media. If you can join us in DC, that would be awesome. If you can't physically, we will be there, and I will be doing a live show, and we'll be able to stream also through Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, and off of here. So tonight, joining me is Thea Barnes from Canada. Hi, Thea. How are you?
I'm good, Jonelle. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And just so everybody knows, Thea is my assistant and producer. And November is CRPS RSD Awareness Month for CRPS RSD. And tonight we'll be discussing ketamine treatments and my personal experiences having them. So I know, Thea, you have a few stats and questions, so go for it.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'll get right with the stats right away, but I thought maybe we could go into your story and find out more about ketamine, because I don't know anything about ketamine. It is not openly available here, or it's not discussed if it is available here. And for that, I don't know what it is. And I know that there's a lot of discussion in the support groups about ketamine, but I'm not always sure if everybody really is on the same page with it. So sometimes it sounds good, and other times it sounds like it's not worth the time. So I'm really excited to be able to ask you questions tonight about it.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm not as good at this as you are, so let me...
It's okay.
let me start this. So can you tell us why initially you decided to try ketamine?
Sure.
How did you find out about it?
Well, first, I have had CRPS RSD since 2009, so I've had it for 9 years, and I wasn't diagnosed until 2015, and once I found out about it, I immediately looked into, first of all, I went, my doctor didn't say much about it, and I went, she said, Google it, so I went home and Googled it, freaked out. And then I saw my pain management doctor, and he said, oh, you should have never Googled it. And I said, well, that's what she said to do. So I started learning what it was. And then, I saw things like suicide, disease, worse pain on the McGill pain scale, all these horrible things. I was freaking out. Originally, when it started in my left hand, and then it went in my left arm. And then it mirrored it and went to my right hand and arm. And in 2010, I had to have a neck surgery. I had a C6-7 fusion. And then in 2012, I had another neck surgery, and I had 4 rods put in at C6-7 because I broke my fusion. And then I had a laminectomy, which creates space in my spinal column. So I have more space in there so nothing touches. So I have the most feeling as possible and I don't become paralyzed. Well, none of my limbs start becoming paralyzed. So, and
that had to be a scary experience.
It was. And after the 2012 thing, that's when it moved to my mouth, face, and head. I started having hives on my face and stuff when I break out, or my skin would change weird on my face too. And my teeth basically became brittle, fell apart. All my cavities fell out that I had in previously. And I had to get some teeth pulled. And this year alone, I think I've had 15 root canals and
Wow.
crowns. So that's a lot. I think I've had a total of 20 something. I lost count. I'd have to count it. So I knew something was going on that wasn't normal. Like my normal neck things, which started at 16 years old, and it didn't get really, really bad where it affected my life, where I couldn't work anymore and I couldn't be my normal self. When I believe it was 24, it was 2003. That's when, it was an accident I had again at in 2003, and it just really started issues for me. So it took a long time to develop CRPS for me. And, obviously I didn't know what it was. So I was Googling it, I was looking into it, and I happened to meet a woman once I found out I had this locally that knew about it and said, hey, my doctor treats for that. And so I said, really? And I went in and saw her, and she's a pain management doctor, but she does ketamine infusions as well. So soon after is when I had my first one. I didn't really know much about it prior.
Okay, did they tell you what it was? Did they tell you that it was a Class B drug? I just in researching for the show, I found out that it was actually a party drug at one point, or it still is.
Yeah, that's all I knew it as. I knew Special K, like in college you heard about it and stuff like that, and people said, it was great high, hallucinating, whatever, and it's like LSD. I never did it then, but that's what I heard about it too. So when she said that, I even asked her that. I'm like, isn't that a party drug? She's like, actually, it's a horse tranquilizer, and people are stealing it out of veterinarian clinics because it's such a big party drug. I'm like, oh,
wow.
That's how that's happening. So, but
I don't know if people realize this, but I hope that nobody decides to go onto the street and buy some of this and treat themselves, because this is really dangerous to do on your own.
It's dangerous. And no, that's not what I was saying. I just meant it was a joke in my head.
I'm just making sure people realize that, because finding out that it was a party drug, it was my son who went, oh, that's Special K.
Yeah.
Like, what? You know what that is? I had no idea. And he's like, oh, I can get you some. I'm like, no, that's okay. I think if I ever get to try it, I'm going to try it in the doctor's office, nice and safely. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So
just wait, hang on, one quick thing. Yeah. International Pain Foundation says on YouTube, who'd party with it? You just lay there, which I agree with you. And she says also, it got me out of a wheelchair. So...
that's awesome.
And it actually put me in remission, but we'll go there. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we will. Okay. So your first experience, I'm going to ask you to sort of take us through a walkthrough from the in preparation for your treatment, arriving at wherever it is that it's done at. I assume it's in a doctor's clinic, and then your reaction to it. So if you could tell us about your first experience, or you had, I believe it's 5 ketamine infusions now, right?
Yes, I've had 5 ketamine infusions. So, so first of all, they last about 4 hours, and I believe it's 100 mics or milligrams that she puts into an IV bag with it. So the first time, every time was a little different, but I react the same. I don't remember anything once it starts. So when I went in, and prior to going in, I didn't have to do any. I've heard that you have to get a psych evaluation and stuff like that. I never had to do that. She didn't do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm not really sure why, but I assume
maybe it's possible it's changed as well. Maybe now that it's becoming more common for people to get ketamine, maybe they are doing these evaluations more? You haven't been asked to do any recently?
Ask what? I'm sorry.
Well, your first infusion was in 2012?
No, my 2015.
Okay, 2015 was your first one. Okay, so well, that's recent enough that if they were thinking that you had some problems, that they probably would have asked you. So continue.
Maybe that's just how her office does it. And by the way, one more thing. International Pain Foundation on YouTube says it's actually an anesthesia or anesthetic,
Yes.
not a tranquilizer.
Yes.
So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's an anesthetic.
Technically, yeah.
It's a powerful general anesthetic. From what I was reading.
She says protocol matters a great deal, and I agree with you. Sorry about that. Yeah, we were just joking around here a little bit and being loose.
Absolutely.
So when I went in, basically what they did, so I do prep. My prep is that I wean off all of my pain medication or opioids, and what she usually gives me to do, I usually take about 2 to 3 weeks to do that. I've done it in 1 week, which isn't fun, but you know,
this is not something you're asked to do. This is something you do on your own.
They like you to be as low as possible on that, and the reason why is because ketamine attaches to the same receptors as pain medication does. So if you have pain medication and you're taking it, your pain receptors cannot take in the ketamine. So I have always done as much as I possibly can, and every time except one, when I had to go to the hospital the day before and they gave me Dilaudid, and I didn't realize, they told me at the hospital, oh, well, that will be out of your system tomorrow, which was not true. You know, it takes 3 to 4 days to get out of your bloodstream and in your system. So I like to go off of it. I want to do everything I can to have the best results. So I always have, besides that one time. So I will wean myself off under doctor supervision. She usually gives me gabapentin, which is a nerve medicine, or well, a lot of people do that, and then also clonidine, which is a blood pressure medicine, and it helps with withdrawals, I guess. I don't know. It seems medicine or.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So then what happened? So from there, I do that. I do about a 2-3 week process. I also drink coconut water. It's supposed to help with hydrating. Especially my veins are really bad because I've had so many surgeries and stuff like that they have a lot of scar tissue on them. So one time I didn't do it, and they stuck me 13 times in my arms. They had to go in my ankle to get my IV, and they were going to give up. They're like, maybe we should just have you come back another time. It was bad, but they got it in finally. It was either my neck or theirs. I'm like, I'm not doing my neck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it freaked me out.
So that was it was because of knowing about the opioid receptors and the dopamine receptors and its attachment that you decided to go off your meds? How did you know to do this completely? Like if you were told to just reduce, or did she explain this to you?
She explained it to me, and then she gave me information that I went home with and I looked at as well. And I spoke with other people that have had it before, and they said that, yeah, you should try to, but they never do. I know my doctor said that I'm the only person that when she tests my blood right before I get my infusion, that, you know, it's out of my system. She's like, I've never had a patient do that, but I think you should try to do that. I mean, for me, I want to have the best results with this. I don't like doing this a lot. It's not an easy process, and it takes time out of your life. But you know, I also wanted to have the best results, and I think that's so important that you do that.
Absolutely. So, tell us about when you arrive. You're arriving at the center. You've come off all of your meds. You must be in a fair amount of pain.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. It happens really quick once I start doing that. I'm pretty miserable for that period of time, and you know, I lose my thought process. I can't think very well. I'm constant pain. It's my neck stuff that's really bad, because I've had 5 neck surgeries, and I'm fused from C3 to C7. So my neck, I could feel everything, and the spasming starts constantly and everything else. Now, my CRPS, it bothers me as well. And I mean, my hands swell a lot. And that's what kind of leads up to me having these. My doctor allows it, and I know people have said different things, but she says, it's okay for, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I lost my thought. I was reading YouTube at the same time.
No, well, yeah, now I have.
No, I was talking about my hand. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
so when I'm off my medicine too, so it doesn't matter with my medicine on or off of it. I mean, my neck and my CRPS stuff bothers me.
What takes you in for the ketamine? Is it just CRPS pain, or is it overall pain from everything that you experienced in your health?
I mean, originally it was CRPS, but
Okay.
I do find it helps with my neck issues too. So I do it for both. And what pushes me to actually, so she allows her patients to do it every 10 weeks. One time I think it was 7 or 8 weeks because she knew I was not doing well. That was a year ago. I did do it back to back, but I don't like doing it because it seems like it doesn't work as well when you do it back to back. At least for me, it didn't. I don't know if that's true for others. So I really don't want to do it as much as possible. And, and because it is such a process and everything, I don't like doing that as well. But the rewards for me were really good. I really, really was happy with it.
So all of us want to hear, what is it like? You go in, is it in a clinic? Is it in a hospital?
It was at my pain management doctor's clinic. They have a nurse there. They hook you up to a heart monitor. They give you an IV. They have blood pressure cuff on, and they have somebody monitoring you the entire time. And then my doctor comes in every so often, and usually my fiance's been with me every time there too, so he's there as well. Yeah, he gets to deal with me for the 4 hours of how I react to everybody.
So how soon is it from the time that they start the fluids that you start to experience something? And can you tell us what it is that you're experiencing? Would you describe that for us?
So, at first they're just giving the drip of normal IV fluids, and then we're talking. She does it pretty quick with me. She's like, okay, I'm going to be putting the ketamine in right now. And then she gives me Ativan as well, just to keep I guess I get, I get really anxious. Brian, stop. I get anxious, and I also move around, and I start getting agitated. Her words for agitation is a little different. Now, I don't remember any of this at this point. So when I go in, once this starts hitting me, I have no memory, and I won't remember usually for a day to two, depending on how hard it hits me. Like I don't track at all. In fact, Brian, I always tell him to take my phone, and he doesn't. And then I realize, oh my gosh, I texted people or called them, and I should have not. You know what I mean? Like people from a long time ago. It's really bad. I'm so embarrassed about it. So I'm sorry about that when I get those. The first time.
Do you have any fluidity at all during this time when you're on it? Because a lot of people describe sensations of floating and being detached and sort of.
Well, I'm still awake, but I don't know. I can't. I have no memory of it. So, so a few of the stories. One time, I guess I thought I was in a candy store, and I was talking about all the candy in the store, and all of my favorite candies, and how I was going to each candy and what one I was taking and stuff like that. And another time I thought I was in a forest climbing big rocks, and I guess I started getting agitated or something, but I think what I was doing is really probably trying to climb up the rocks. So my doctor came in and gave me some Ativan to knock me out, basically, so I'd settle down.
So how long does this last?
It lasts 4 hours, and
okay. So you have this reaction for the entire 4 hours.
Yes.
Does it continue after?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay. So.
It can last for a day or two for me.
Okay.
And now she does send me home with Ativan as well to make me
I was just
sleep.
going to say, when does she send you home?
Yeah, so it's
Do you
4
do you
hours.
remember going home?
No, I have no memory of that. In fact, one time we were on the way home, and Brian was, my fiance he was hungry, and he's like, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "No, I guess I just wanted a soda." And so he got the soda to me, gave it to me, and then he ordered chicken fingers or chicken nuggets or something like that. And he gave them to me to hold while he was paying. Well, like when we're in the car, and while he was paying, and I don't remember this, but I guess I ate all of his chicken fingers except one. And then he was like, "Hey, you ate all of them." He looked at me finally, and I'm like, "Yeah." And I ate half of one, the one left, and I gave him another half, and I'm like, "Here." And like I feel so bad. And he's like, "That wasn't nice." And I'm like, "Tough, deal with it." So I guess I get very kind of mouthy too. Sorry.
Okay, so you're still very verbal. So you are there, but you're not there? Is that what it is?
I have no memory of it, but I'm awake.
Okay.
So I don't remember anything. I don't feel anything. And I've had different reactions when I get home, and I don't remember a day to two out, but some of my reactions is I've just completely slept the entire time, and then I'm awake. That one time when I did have opioids in my system, I did start tracking later that night after that day of the ketamine infusion, and I do remember things. So it didn't work so well that time. This last time, and I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about this, but I think it's important that we talk about this. I guess I went to the bathroom in my pants on the couch, and I didn't remember any. I was just really sick. I was puking a lot, and I was sick. But I don't remember it. I just remember kind of being normal. And you are going to want somebody there to watch you and be there for you for a day or two.
Do they ask you to make sure that there's somebody with you? Because is this standard for people to end up throwing up and having these type of reactions, or does everybody experience this, or just because I'm wondering how it could possibly be a party drug if people have that type of reaction.
I don't know much about the party drug part of it, but like I could only talk about my experiences with this because
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So your experience, was this every time? You've had it 5 times, so every single time it's the same, or is your experience different each time?
For what I remember, I mean, it's different every time, I guess, of how I react or the length of time that I don't have memory. But I don't think I ever got sick before. It was just that one time really bad like that. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, I could only go off of what Brian told me afterwards. It was not an easy process, I guess, and I guess I'm really annoying. I get agitated very easily, and I'm just like, demanding, and I don't, I'm falling all over the place too. I guess you can't walk well. I know that, so that's what he told me. So you definitely need somebody there to watch you, and this is like a serious thing. You know what I mean? But I can say directly afterwards, for a few days, I know I felt kind of foggy. I wasn't I was there, but I wasn't. At the time, I wasn't really doing a whole lot, so it was okay. It was fine.
So when is it that you start to feel really like, wow, this works?
Okay, so the 4 times that I've had it in the past, or I'm sorry, the 3 first times, I still was on all of my medications afterwards. Although, I would say maybe about a month or something like that, I didn't have to take medications, which I was so excited about. But then I always had to go back on them again. And it wasn't so much my CRPS, but it was my neck issues. Now, a year and a half ago, I changed a bunch of things in my life. I didn't go on the ketogenic diet, but I went on something similar where it was high fats, low carbs, and just a lot of veggies, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory food properties. And I started, doing this whole protocol of meditation. I started working out regularly 3 times a week. And if I can't work out, at least I'm moving or doing something, walking, something always. And this whole combination kind of helped me a lot. And so the last, well, not the last one, but the one before that, I had in, I think it was December, I believe. And from December to March, I was in remission, I think, for CRPS. I had no symptoms of it. My hands weren't swelling. I didn't have any discoloration. They didn't feel cold like they normally do. I could move them. I wasn't getting like the sharp pains or tinglies. It was pretty cool. And then we moved and I overdid it, and then I kind of went out of remission, and I had to start, and I wasn't on medication at that time either. And that was like the first time for that period of time ever in 16 years, which is pretty amazing for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I was going to ask if it takes away the need for other pain medications. In your case, it took it away the need for pain medications to treat your CRPS.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean,
okay.
That's huge, you know.
Is this typical of ketamine infusions?
So I think everybody responds differently. I've heard some horror stories where people will get PTSD from ketamine infusions, like for life. And I don't want to scare people, but I just want everybody to be aware of what possibilities there are out there. I think that's why they do the psych evaluations, probably.
It makes sense.
Yeah. But I also, I've heard good and bad. You know, I've talked to some people. I know Barbie Engel. She saw some. You know, it doesn't cure or put her into remission always, but it helped her out. This is not a cure. This is not something that like is going to be a permanent thing. But for right now, it helps, and it does help a lot.
How did you feel being in that remission period? You know, having tried this and going into remission. Was this the first time that you've been in remission during the time that you took ketamine? So the all your other past experiences, it didn't bring you to remission, but this last time it did?
Only this last time I was in remission. I've never been in it before, but I think I was also doing a lot of other things along with that to help myself, which we all need to do. We all, like, absolutely, whatever we have at our own, if we have a choice of doing something, whether it's with eating correctly, trying to work out and you know, and move and stuff like that, or do whatever, I think we need to do it, because, you know, quality of life is the most important thing when you have diseases and chronic illnesses. And if you don't have a quality of life, you really don't have a life. So, yeah, I would suggest this to people. I think that you should try it, definitely. And I think, you know, everybody deals a little differently with it, or how it is. You know, something I also do, I prepare for when I go in, is that I always try to listen to good music beforehand. You're allowed to listen to music while you're there. I've never done it because I always forget my earphones when I go. But you know, I always try to get my head and my mental space in a very good space, because I don't want to be having bad hallucinations, you know. I guess I haven't yet, but, you know, that's how I've been.
Obviously, you experienced some positive outcomes from having an infusion or having multiple infusions, but what were some of the negatives? Apart from the cost, I didn't really find too many negatives. Did you experience any negatives?
Yeah. Did I talk about cost with me on here yet? I don't.
No, we haven't talked about cost yet, but I think that we probably will get into that, because I know in researching it, I did find quite an astonishing array of prices, and I'm not sure if insurance covers it, or Medicaid covers it, or what covers it.
Well, let's just cover it right now. So I personally, for me, I'm on Medicare as my primary, and then I do have a secondary, which is Highmark, and it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I have never had to pay for anything, not even a copay. So it's been, well, it's not free because I'm paying something still, but I have not had to pay anything. But I think you know how much other people have. Do you? Yeah,
just let me bring it up here.
I think you said.
Sorry, I wrote down a few things, but.
No, that's okay. So I think some people have to pay, but, you know, I mean, I know there's a lot of people on disability with Medicare, so they do cover that I know of. I'm not sure what pays in my insurance is.
Because in looking it up, it shows that it's a different cost everywhere. Like in Seattle, it shows that CRPS RSD treatment is $2,500 per treatment, which runs 4 to 6 hours. This, though, I have to say, was the most expensive that I saw out of all of them. I think some of them were like $350, $450. I guess it would really depend on whether or not you have insurance or which state you're in.
Yeah. By the way, also, I know there is a several-day ketamine infusion you can get at a few doctors. I believe I know for around me, it's like Dr. North at Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And it's like a 5-day thing where you go in and, you get a little bit every day and you stay overnight. I believe a few other people that are on YouTube have had that too as well. Barbie Engel says my highest bill for one day was just over $22,000. Oh my goodness!
Wow,
that's a lot. Was that just ketamine, Barbie?
I'm wondering when it was.
She said, but insurance covered it. Okay, all right, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they charge my insurance. I haven't. You know what? I do get the bills, but I don't look at them, so I guess I should look.
Yeah, you might want to look at that and see, because it's saying here that some of them are by referral, and treatment is applied by. They say it's still $500, but they're saying that it's a consultation fee. So we'll see. In Texas, they say it's $750 for a 2-hour infusion. In San Antonio, Texas, it's $100 for a consultation, which goes towards the infusions, and they say that's anywhere between $500 and up. Okay. So yeah, it looks like it in Florida. They give you a phone number and tell you to call. In Orlando, Florida, another one, it's $1,500 for 3 infusions. So I guess that would be one of the ones that you go in for multiple. And Barbie, and there's another one for 4 days, and it's $3,000.
Okay. Barbie Engel had the 7-day inpatient version of ketamine, and that was $114,000, but it was her insurance picked it up.
Okay.
So
that'd be something for people who have CRPS to really look into, find out from their providers, because if this is an option and there's a place near them, that's something I would like to question you about too. How many doctors do this? Is this only done in certain types of clinics? Is it readily available if I go to my doctor and, anyone can do this? Or is it in clinics just set up for this?
Well, for example, I think that they could give you ketamine when, like, say if you're under anesthesia for certain surgeries. So I know, any hospitals can do it. I've also been told in the past, like, say if I ever have to get major surgery for dental work or something like that, and I'm not talking about ketamine, or I'm sorry, like root canals and stuff, but like actual surgery in your mouth. Yeah. People with CRPS should have ketamine, and I guess your doctor could write a prescription for it saying you need this so it doesn't move and also so you have lower pain. Anybody could do it, I guess, but for CRPS at least, I believe only certain people do it. You would have to ask around, I guess, because I know only my doctor does it here in North Carolina, and then Dr. North does at Winston-Salem in North Carolina. I don't know any others in North Carolina. I know there's a place in Georgia.
South Carolina, but I don't even see the North Carolina listed on here.
Yeah,
and you see it for South Carolina, $700 for each. And it's a 4-day.
Again, I know I was looking, actually going to Dr. North to do the 5-day inpatient one, and my insurance covered it, so I've not done that. I was going to do that actually when I first found out, and then I was like, then I found my doctor, and I was like, you know what, I'll just try the day thing first and see how that works. It just scared me. I didn't want to do something that's a lot,
Well, you have some pretty serious hallucinations and reaction to it, so I could understand being a little bit cautious or nervous about trying for a longer period of time. Be interesting to hear what Barbie's experience was on that one. So what were the negatives from having, I know you like to say you had the positive, but what was the negative part of having the ketamine? Was it just because it doesn't last long, or what? Or because you still have to use medications? How did it interact with your medication when you started up again?
Well, it's well, any other, I mean, besides opioids, it doesn't seem to react with. Again, it's different each time. Sometimes I had a better reaction off of it, so it lasted longer, and then other times it didn't. It was different every time. So I can't say like, hey, if you go do this, you're gonna be like this. I mean, it all depends. Honestly, for me, I think how it depends is how I prepped. How much, was I off all of my opioids, and, just how close I did the other ketamine infusions, because this last one that I had, I didn't do it for quite a while. So it hit me really hard. And I remember my first one did too. So my first and last one hit me the hardest. The other ones in between, 2 through 4, didn't as much. So
how often would someone typically have to go back for a booster? Do they suggest you come back sooner, or do they, is there a time period? You did mention there was a period of time that most people go.
My doctor allows you to do it every 10 weeks. And I guess when I was in that emergency situation or whatever, she said I could do it a little bit before then. She also does lidocaine infusions, which I've never had, but I heard that can also help. I'm not sure if anybody else has tried that out there, but if you want to call in or talk about it, that would be great. So I know people in her clinic, when they do ketamine, in between they'll do lidocaine, and she'll do lidocaine infusions every 2 weeks, which again I've never had. And with my ketamine infusions, I try not to do them close together, because I feel like when I did, they didn't work as well, and when I spaced them out, they worked a lot better. And again, the negatives are it's hard to do it. It's hard to go off my pain medicine. Like I've been on that stuff for 16 years, and since I really, really got bad. So it's not easy for me to do this whole process. So I shut down basically when I'm going off of it, because my pain levels go high, but I want to have the best reaction as I can. The other thing is obviously whoever has to take care of you, and like my fiance, I was a mess, and I was all over the place, and I wanted to walk when I should have been walking, and I'd get up and try to do things, and I'd be falling all over the place, and I could get hurt. So that, I know, I'm sure it's really hard on the caretaker that takes care of you then. Other than that,
because you probably can't drive afterwards either, right?
No, they don't let you drive.
They don't let you drive. So I guess that would explain some of the inpatient ones where the people just stay, and I guess they relax, and they're taken care of, and then they get another boost the next day. Was it ever suggested to you that you should try for a longer period, that it might last longer for you, especially after having had the remission?
The longer period of what?
Going in for like one of these 4-day ones that I'm seeing, or a 5-day one, or a 7-day one. Is it just because it scares you, or is it because you don't really feel the need for it?
I didn't. My doctor never said anything to me. I mean, if I wanted to go do it, I could. I got accepted into the, to go and do it. I've chosen not to do it. Just like Barbie Engel is saying right now on YouTube, negative, it takes a few days out of your life on a mental level, but it's worth it. It is harder on the caregiver. And she's also said it shouldn't drive for 24 to 48 hours. I agree with you, Barbie. And for me, I don't know. I just have chosen not to do it yet. I don't want to take that much time out of my life. I have too many things going on now. I think if it got bad enough, I absolutely would.
Yes, I'm thinking if it was available to me, if my doctor said tomorrow, "Oh yeah, we'll let you have ketamine," I'm not sure that I wouldn't give them a week of my life. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, yeah, because honestly, all right. So sorry, even if like one time I weaned a week prior off of all my meds. So that's a week. And then you get the ketamine infusions, and that's a few days. And then it's probably another week or two until I'm normal. So it's probably about 3 weeks total. And if it's even longer for me to go off meds, it's probably like a month of where, my life is basically, I don't do anything at that point. So and that's just for that 1 4-hour infusion for me. So I have not, my CRPS is bad and it bothers me and it's a pain in the butt, and especially when it gets cold and stuff like that. And there's sometimes I don't have a choice of when it happens, or like sometimes I do things and I know it's gonna like flare up, but there's other times that I don't know when I'm gonna do that. The thing I cannot control is my neck pain, and when that gets bad, it's really, really bad. And so that's been more of an issue for me, but they kind of work in tandem together. And it just seems like it's like they both work together, and like it seems like when one happens, the other one will eventually. So and then when they both do, it's really bad. I'm actually right now experiencing probably the worst health in over a year. And and it's why I've been able to even produce this show and get this out there and do what I've been doing, because I've been able to think and use my mind, and it's been really depressing as well. So I was supposed to actually have a ketamine infusion, what was it, 2 weeks ago, and it was canceled. And I probably need to go in and get one soon, because it's about that time. And you asked earlier, how do I know? I know because every morning my hands are so swollen, I can't even, put them in a fist. I can't touch things. They hurt so much. The pain is just out of control.
The symptoms come back really, really fast, or
after the ketamine
something
infusions?
Gradual. Yeah.
For me, it's gradual. It's been different periods of times. Again, like, this last time, it was a 3-month period where it was like nothing. And I've never had that.
So what was that like?
Great.
You experienced this euphoria, because it had to be very euphoric to not have pains, wake up going, oh, wow, that feels nice.
Yeah, I could get up and do what I want when I want.
Gave you that? Sorry?
I was able to get up and do what I wanted when I wanted to. I haven't experienced that. And even my neck stuff, that was better. So it was... Okay.
So you just contribute the going out of remission because you start to do too much because you were moving at that point, or?
Yes, I was moving to a new house. I was also starting to put together, the show and working a lot with that. We were painting the house. We were doing a lot of stuff. So I was being very physical, and I knew I was overdoing it. I know it was my fault.
So that would be some advice that you'd give people, that they really should still listen to their body and not overdo.
Always.
Because we still have, whatever we have, it's still there. This is just, is this like masking the symptoms, or is it making you go into remission? I'm kind of confused. Is it, how does it react? Because it's not a cure.
No.
So it's medication. So
when I say symptoms, I don't have symptoms anymore. I don't get my swelling. My hands weren't ice cold, but they weren't like burning inside. I wasn't having the tingliness in them. I didn't have the discoloration in my hands. Like all of it, like I had no symptoms of it. So the only thing I could think what that is, and when I've spoken to my doctor, when I, saw her again, it was remission. And along with that, though, my neck wasn't bothering me either. So I don't know if it works for neck or not, but for my neck issues, but it did. It seems to.
Okay, but maybe it would make sense, though. You've had surgery in the neck. It could be nerve related as well, because I read somewhere that it's also peripheral nerve damage and central nerve issues as well that ketamine will treat. So it makes sense that it could possibly be that. So when you were getting the infusion, did you have vivid dreams during that time or the night after? Because I was reading somewhere that people also end up having vivid dreams. Did you have any vivid dreams, or was it really just you're out?
Again, I don't have until I had memory. I don't remember.
Okay, so you
but
really you get amnesia. That's it.
yes, the entire time.
How about your
Brian's telling
feelings?
me I had dreams. What did I do, Brian? Why don't you come on and talk? Hang on a second. We're gonna put Brian on here. Go ahead.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, she had some pretty. She would wake up and tell me that she had a really intense dream about something. I can't remember specifics what she did, but she was telling me it was just like they were right there and things. And a couple of them she was a little bit scared by. So
Okay.
Was she aware? Was she aware of that when she was talking to you, or was she still under the influence of the ketamine?
Well, what I find interesting about ketamine is the fact that after about 24 hours, she'll seem pretty normal. She'll carry on a conversation with you. She can function. She can do most things okay, but the thing is, she will not remember. About a day or so later, she will suddenly really wake up, and she's like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, well, you were doing all this stuff yesterday. You said, give me your phone. You wanted to get on Facebook, and you wanted to do these other things,
Yeah,
and you
he should have
seemed
been
okay.
giving it to me.
and I guess I should. Yeah, I know, but I mean, she's like, she's fine. She seems to be tracking and everything, but ketamine takes your short-term memory away, and she just did not remember doing those things, and she did not remember having those really vivid dreams once she after about probably 72 hours or so.
Wow, it's a long time. I wonder if that's the same reaction that everybody gets.
From what I've seen and what I've read, it varies from individual to individual.
That makes sense. Our symptoms are individual, so it makes sense that our treatments are too. Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that she's done when she's been under the influence of these?
No.
Well, there's probably a few
nice.
things, but I'm not going to be able to repeat them here, so we'll just let that go.
We're being kid friendly. Okay, Brian, you could go now. I'm kidding.
Right.
No.
Bye, Thea.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, Brian, for coming on. So I honestly, I don't remember. He tells me these stories, and I'm just like, oh, those are stories. If I don't remember, it's not real, But that doesn't mean it isn't. So I do remember. I think it was my third or fourth one. I think it was the third one, because it was when I didn't have a good one because I was in the hospital the day before. I did do some recordings, and I have them. I have to find them. But I videoed of how I was feeling and thinking, and I do remember doing it, but I don't think I was really tracking much then. But you could see that it looked like my mouth was dry because I kept licking my lips, and I was just talking very slow and being my eyes were droopy and stuff like that. So if I find those. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. What kind of instructions do your doctors What kind of instructions do you get when you're leaving? What does the doctor say to you? Okay, expect this. Is it normal that you would have dry mouth? Are these typical experiences?
Brian, do you remember? I don't remember. Hang on, he's gonna come back on.
Hey, usually they. I really don't remember what they told us after the first one.
Yeah, okay. What did they tell the caregiver then? What information did they give you? Because it has to be kind of scary for a loved one to be there and watching their loved one.
She does get kind of entertaining, but they just basically said to keep her calm and. No, big outside adventures or, a lot of physical activity or anything. Just, kind of quiet, stay, as calm and collected as possible. And there wasn't anything really in any type of like instructions that they give you written when you go home. It's just, keep an eye on them, make sure they don't hurt themselves, keep them away, don't let them play with sharp objects or make, prank phone calls.
Well, you didn't do that though.
Well, you weren't, as far as I knew, you weren't making any prank phone calls, but and after you've done it a few times, they just basically just turn the person over to you and tell you have a nice day, and we'll see you next time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I expect more, considering how much it affects her.
Well,
that there must be a big list of
well,
don't do this.
And I think
sure
I think there was the first time we did it. I recall that I think they gave us a paper and said, she's going to be out of it for so long, and you should keep her quiet and things like that. But after we'd gone there a time or two, they just, they got to know us, and it's like that they knew that I knew the drill, so it wasn't a big deal for them to just turn her over to me and help me get her into the vehicle to get back to the house. The biggest obstacle is usually getting up the stairs to come home. That's the big deal.
Oh, is this like walking a drunk person, or
yeah, pretty much.
Is it like she's drunk?
Pretty much. Yep. So
well, that could be kind of fun.
Well, yeah, unless you both go tumbling down the stairs at the same time or something, that could be kind of a bad thing. But we've
Did
never
that
we haven't done that. We've made it successfully to the top of the stairs every time, so it's all good.
Did she ever do anything really, really strange afterwards, or is it just more the drunk dialing?
She's done a few little bizarre things. She's ridden home over in the seat, just making weird little hand motions and talking and saying weird things to me. So that was kind of fun and
It was
interesting.
my puppet hands.
It was her puppet hand.
It
That's
was
right.
rock and roll and baby doll. Okay, and
Oh, you remember this?
no,
No,
I'm
she
picking.
I don't
But
know what
no,
she was doing,
When my
but-
sister, my sister was really young because she's
Very
10 years younger
interesting.
than me. We had puppet hands called rock and roll and baby doll, and we'd be like, "Hey, rock and roll," and and I was thinking I probably was doing that when he's talking about that. Because
So this brought you back to some.
I think I revert to a
previous memories.
child. I like it sounds like the things I do. It reverts to when I was like younger. Like the candy store
True,
thing.
you got the candy store.
Yeah, and like climbing all over big rocks and stuff like that. And we don't live in a forest area, so
No, but
I used
after
to-
going to her dad's, I could see the climbing over rocks thing, because he's got a lot of rocks out there, and she, I think that's what she was doing in her mind. She was at her dad's, and she was climbing over these big boulders and stuff there, or she was trying to, anyways, because she kept, bumping around on the cot there, and the nurse was getting a little bit worried that she was going to throw herself off the bed.
Yeah, so it sounds like I just kind of like trying to reach around. Thea, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We had just a little blimp there.
Okay. Yes. So anyway, Brian, thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate you doing that.
Oh, anytime.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
I will be quiet now.
did you have any other questions for me or about this? And by the way, I want to thank everybody on YouTube. Ken Taylor and Barbie Engel and International Pain Foundation and a few other people that came on for commenting and questioning. But yeah, was there anything else? Because I think we kind of covered all of it, right?
Yeah, I think we basically really did cover it all. I just I want to know, it says here that there's respiratory depression and whatnot as well quite often. Did you experience any of these type of things, or is this a lesser side effect that can occur?
I did not, but that is the reason why they have you hooked up to a heart monitor, and they have a cuff, and they have a nurse right there with you the entire time, and they want somebody in there. So, like my fiance was with me there the entire time. Now, when you do the several day inpatient one or several day outpatient one, Oh, Teresa Smith says she's here too. Hi, Teresa. Sorry. Yeah, when you do that, I think they have that because you're doing it so much and every day. I think that's why they do it, because it can. It is a, well, it's an anesthetic. It makes you, and it slows everything down. It slows your heart down and stuff like that. They want to make sure that you're okay.
Yeah, because they're also saying that it helps eliminate chronic post-surgical pain.
Okay, so hang on. Yeah, so Barbie Engel says not typically with ketamine. That's with other anesthesias or anesthetics. Ketamine typically makes your heart go faster, not slow. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, no. Well, I'm on the rsdfoundation.org, and it was saying that the use of narcotics often lead to this. And
well, but is that ketamine or is that opiates?
Yeah, there's talking about the treatment with it. Let's see.
Because, yeah, opiates is definitely, it depresses you. It's a depressant.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. She's absolutely right. It says here, in contrast,
okay,
ketamine
gotcha.
has a very selective effect on relieving pain, and doesn't have such a prolonged sedation.
Yeah, she also says
or
ketamine is
depression.
Ketamine's one of the safest of all anesthesias or anesthetics. So, yeah, so it's safe.
It would be wonderful if this could be standard treatment for people for CRPS until something else like neradronidate is an option. But for people with type 2 CRPS, neradronidate will probably not be an option for us for some time. They're going to have to research it for a significant longer period before they let us have it. So,
and
ketamine,
I understand, like, that's your position, but honestly, like, I wouldn't get neradronidate. I'm afraid of that because of what I've researched and stuff like that. I don't want to take something like that. Like ketamine, I know, I don't know if you remember, when Dr. Getson was on a few months ago, he was saying it's one of the safest things to do. Nobody has problems with it usually. They use it often in the hospital and stuff like that. And, it's like a quick in and out thing. The neradronidate, though, the side effects for me, at least, I wouldn't try it, honestly. But that's not to say that, like, last night we had Samantha Littmer on, and she thinks it's a great thing. It's helping her.
Yeah, well, her story was encouraging, with the exception of her 2 times that she had adverse reaction to it. It wasn't super long term. She was ready to go for her next infusion by the next date that she was due for it. So it's encouraging. It's encouraging. Whether or not it's 100% something, whether it's for everybody, no, probably not. Just like ketamine is probably not for everybody. But it's nice to know that we're finally getting some options. And it'd be nice if this was something that was being offered to people a little bit sooner, so we could have a bit of quality of life instead of having to take extra drugs and opioids. And,
it's changed so much in the last 10 years because, I mean, just a few years ago, I think it was still in drug trials, and now it's not. And, Barbie Engel says it's going to be standard treatment, and I agree. It's going to be. I think it is. It's not... I think if you do a combination with that and, other things in your life, you can live at a really great level of life for a period of time. I would highly suggest it to others, but, I just know a lot of people don't. The people that I've spoken to, the majority of them, they didn't go off of their opioids and stuff like that, and usually they did not like it or think it worked well, and that's why I thought it was so important
to react to it.
Yeah, and that's why I felt it was so important to talk about going off of them. And I know it's really hard, but it's worth, to have to go into remission for a few months was amazing for me. I'm the type of personality that I'm very positive, and I forget how bad something is when it's not like that. So, when things are great, it's like, this world's great. If you ask me, hey, how bad was your pain? I'll be like, oh, it wasn't bad. But it really was bad. It was just, I can't remember because like my mind doesn't work that way, because I only remember kind of like, the here and now.
Yeah.
But like lately, how I've been feeling, it's, it's like a struggle every day. And it's like, it takes me a long time to get up and get going in the morning. I have to take my medicine. Some days it doesn't work at all. My brain fog is terrible. My neck pain is terrible. I can feel everything in me. I'm spasming. I'm feeling sharp shooting pains through everything. It's frustrating. That's what I have to say. I mean, like, it's definitely like, if I could go, I can't work and go get a job and have a job every day. I'm thankful I can do this show and stuff like that, because I really enjoy doing this. And, I created this just so we can start like talking about things like this, because I think it needs to be out there. And I think people need the education, and we all need to kind of learn about all these things, and learn, what is and isn't out there. So.
Well, I'll make sure that I also post where I got the information about the cost, and maybe this will help people guide them to clinics for locations and the cost, and hopefully insurance is covering for everybody. It'd be really nice if people could access this. So I'll be making sure to put up the locations that ketamine is offered in the clinics.
Yeah, I agree. And, I can put up links and stuff like that. I do have a few links I didn't put up earlier, and I apologize. If people want to, find a place of where you can look to call and find out about ketamine, I can do that in the United States. It's, I don't know if you found that either, Thea, but
yeah, no, I found it. It's at ketaminecost.com, and it's sorted by cost. And it's sorted by location, where you can get ketamine globally. And, of course, they have facts and questions for you and contact numbers.
Okay, great. Well, Thea, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Brian Grimes, also, thank you for coming in tonight and talking about this. And everybody that was tuning in, I really appreciate you, coming on the YouTube, for all of your comments and questions and thoughts. That was awesome. This is definitely a thing that we need to talk about. And this month, I'm going to try to talk about all the treatments, all the options there are for CRPS RSD, because it is Raise Awareness Month for this. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed our show tonight. And again, Thea, thanks for coming in. And
thank you for having me. Sorry, I have a cold tonight. So
nope, you were awesome. You were awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Call Nation. I hope
great being on.
Yep, Call Nation. I hope you have a good night, and I will see you next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Have a good one.
Listening to Conspiracies Against Wellness with Jonelle Elgaway. Join us next week to get in on the conversation. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and callers, and not necessarily those of EXG, LLC, its employees, or sponsors. I'm David Chipp.
The Cause Show with Jonelle Elgaway is copyright 2017 by EXG LLC. All rights reserved.